All right, so I've been really excited about our speakers today. Tyler and Valerie Kukahiko have started, they're on their second or third business that they've started. They're going to tell you all about it. But I was thinking about, okay, what would I love to, what's the avenue here? So one, food industries, big industry, great information there. Two, how you maybe can expand some things that you can look at, ask them questions on that. The other thing that I think is really fun is how a husband and wife team, how you work in that relationship to build a business together can be a little bit challenging. So it'll be anxious to see what they say about some of those things or some questions you have there. A good variety of topics or areas where you can dive a little deeper in some of your questions. So be thinking about that. Tyler and Valerie met here at UVU, and then they graduated from BYU, but I'm going to let them tell the story. So let's hear it for Tyler and Valerie.
Why don't you start? You start. You introduce yourself first.
Oh my. Okay. So I'm Tyler, Valerie, Kukahiko. So I grew up here. So I grew up in Orem. Went to Orem High. Graduated from BYU, and so born and raised. My family Kukahiko name is from Hawaii. So my father's from Maui, actually from Lahaina. So that's been a little traumatic for my dad. But I was born and raised here. So I really, for me, what I love, I went to BYU. I played football at BYU. So. Still love football, love coaching my kids now at football, and I love building businesses with my wife. And so we're here to tell you a little bit about that today, but I'm gonna let her tell
tell about your background with what you did.
Oh, for work?
For work, yeah.
So I graduated in communications. It's like, what'd you learn in that? I don't know. I just wanted to graduate. And so I took communications. And what did I want to do? I had no idea. So luckily I got in with a real estate development company. And I don't know what they saw in me. They saw something. And so for about 11 years, I did real estate development and new home construction, the business and the marketing side.
They made you a partner of that company.
Made me a partner, yeah. So I made a partner of that company. And we'll get into that a little bit more. What happened? Why did I leave that and come in and do this? You know, everybody told me, you're really dumb. You're really dumb for leaving what you have to go to what you're about to do, which we'll talk more about. But that was it. That was about 11 years in that. And then we started Crust Club. So I'll let her tell about herself.
Yeah, so I'm Valerie, and I am kind of from all over. My dad was in hospital administration, so we moved around a ton growing up. I graduated high school in Las Vegas. We moved there my senior year of high school, and I was like, get me out of here. So I took summer school, graduated early, went to BYU when I was 17. And then while we were both at BYU, we had a class together, but he was too chicken to come talk to me. So we were at a UVU dance, and I did not want to be there. I did not like dances.
She was legit. She was standing like stone cold, not looking at anyone, not dancing. And obviously I was like, I gotta go see what's up with that girl. And so
we were both at this. It was actually UVSC dance. It was a long time ago. Yeah. And so he came up and talked to me anyway. Took us a couple years. We finally started dating and got married.
Yeah, and now here we are today, back speaking at UVU.
So I graduated. I really wanted to do interior design at BYU, but they discontinued the program right when I got there. So I bounced around and finally ended up on landscape management, and I minored in business. I moved to Valencia, California after graduating, worked there for a little bit, didn't love it. I was all by myself, and so I went back home and then came back up to Provo, and that's when Tyler and I started dating and got married. And I worked for a little bit, then we started having kids, and I got really bored. And I was like, I need to do something. And so I had a recipe blog, and I was like, I want to do something more. And I saw this company, and they had chicken pot pies. And I was like, really excited to try these chicken pot pies. And I had a neighbor, she went up and got one for us and brought it back, and I tried it, and I was really disappointed. And I was like, I can do this. And so I was like, I'm determined to make the best chicken pot pie recipe. And so I did. And for a long, long time, I just kept having this nagging feeling that I should do something with it. I put it on my recipe blog, put it out to the world. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. And so I pulled the recipe from my blog. I started an Instagram account, and I was like, I'm going to start making these out of my home and selling them. And so that's what I did. I did pot pies. I did little mini hand pies, dessert pies. And before I knew it, first I was just selling to friends and family. And then I started having just random people stopping by my house, buying these things. And I was like, okay, I need to either go full steam or I can't do this out of my house anymore.
Well, so from my perspective, it was like, I was actually in the process of leaving. I thought I need to leave my company because I really wanted to start my own thing. So I was developing a few different business models, things that maybe you're doing right now. You're like, I have an idea. I want to test out that idea. So I started doing that. So I'm sitting in my office at home trying to build something out. And in the meantime, I get people knocking on the door, picking up a pie, picking up some food. I'm like, what is going on? So she's just going crazy selling all this product. So here I am trying to build something. Well, I'm trying to build something, me and a computer. Okay, that's not a company. What a company is somebody making something and selling to somebody. So she's actually running a company, and I'm like pretending like I wanted to start a company. And so from my perspective, you can sell anything once. Can you sell it again? Can you sell it again? Can you sell it again? And people kept coming to the house, same people, every week. Same people, more people than those same people. And so I was going, wait, okay, people are buying this like multiple times a week. The same people keep coming back. I don't care if it's pie. I don't care what widget it is. Like, people love this product and they're paying for it. So that's when I told her, look, I want my kitchen back. So either you need to do this for real or we need to shut this off, but we can't do this anymore. So anyway.
So then, yeah, we decided, for a minute there, we were going to partner with my parents, and they were going to help. And then I realized I can't work with my parents. This is going to be a really bad idea. And so I don't advise it. And so then Tyler and I, he was still working for his company, and he wasn't ready to leave. So we just decided to do it together.
So I just did both. So pretty much she did it, and I just helped her. So at night, I'd work all on her business, and then during the day, I'd go, work on mine.
So we leased a space and built it out, and it was me plus like one or two other employees, and we would just be there all day making food. I mean, we hustled so much. We would just go on Instagram and say like, okay, who wants free pie today? We're gonna come to your work and we're gonna bring you free pie. Like, we did anything and everything we could to get our names out there and to let people know who we are. We were contacting Instagrammers, and this was like back in the day, 2017, prime Instagram time, when it wasn't like the algorithm and all these different things. And we were really lucky. People wanted our product. And so we didn't pay a single influencer. We just gave them product in exchange for them posting. Nowadays, it's really hard to do that. You really have to pay people, and
that's really how we grew that first year. Yeah.
We just hustled, and we just put our product out there and tried to get in front of as many eyeballs as possible.
Yeah. So, okay, so we'll try to go through. So what time? How much time we have here? Give us time so we're good. 20 after. Okay, and we have until when? Till 20 after. Okay, sorry. So, okay. So I think we wanted to share. We won't go through all of them, but basically, we'll try to make this as entertaining as possible. But basically, it's story time, because man, you really learn through stories, right? And that's how you should sell your product too, by the way. Is people don't buy numbers and graphs and charts. People buy stories. People remember stories. So we'll try to share stories, and the lessons that we teach, that we learn in business, we'll try to teach through stories. So can I share a story?
Of course.
Let's share a story. So we started, so the official launch out of our new location was, this is kind of funny, November 8th, 2016 is when we officially had like the launch from the warehouse space and online and whatever else. And it was kind of dead that night. I remember being like, man, it's dead. How come we don't have much sales? And this is where you're so laser focused on building a business, you don't realize like anything else that's going on in the world. And that is the night that Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton in the election. And we're like, oh, that's why nobody's paying attention. And we like didn't even have a clue. The whole world is paying attention to this. And all we can think about is our new business that we're launching. So that first year, the first year was pretty crazy. We pretty much doubled sales every month that first year. And that was really validation. It's like, why did it grow so much? Well, she made a phenomenal product. And she was basically with partnering up with a few people, making and selling every product. And we did about $500,000 in sales that first year. From zero to that was like, oh man, this thing's going. So something happened at the end of that year. I saw this thing going. I'm like, Kay, I told my business partners, Kay, I'm done. I'm going. They're like, what are you doing? I'm going to go sell pies. They're like, really? You sell pies? Like, real estate at the time was going like this. And we're just killing it. And they're like, you're going to leave. So my business partners, my attorney, everybody was like, what are you doing? But we felt compelled to do it, and we wanted to do it together. So in October of that year, I left, and we planned, because we're growing so much, something was happening on social media, and that was everybody all over the country was saying, hey, we love this, we really want to get it. It's like, well, we're here in Utah, we can't get it to you.
Yeah, but every day we're getting comments. We want you. Come to Texas. Come to this place. Everywhere wanted us.
So we're getting big eyes, and we're thinking, wow, if we can sell that much here in Little Pleasant Grove, how much can we sell, the whole country? So I started going to work to try to figure out, how do I get this product to Florida? How do I get it to California? How do I get it up to New York, right? And so I left in about October is when I left my company. In December, we launched nationwide shipping, right? And we did this big build up to it. We partnered with a cold chain shipping company that specializes in storing and packaging and shipping cold products, which we had a physical perishable product. And we thought, hey, this is gonna be awesome. We're gonna get everybody. So that first day, the first day we launched shipping, I looked at the sales, and we had done that day in sales, we'd done the same amount in a day as we'd previously done in about 2 weeks, right? And so I saw that number, and I call them up, and I said, we did it. Wow, we did it. This is amazing. We're going like this, right? We're quantum leaping into the future. And that was a really good moment. And then 24 hours later, we started to hear what was going on. And the partner that we'd partner with, I don't know how else to say, they just were...
Crooks.
They were basically crooks.
Dishonest.
Yeah, and product wasn't being sent out, it was getting there wrong. So in a matter of 24 hours, we shut off the website to stop the bleeding. We refunded every single customer, and we came together as a team. We're like, what are we gonna do? And we had about $25,000 worth of inventory product at this third party sitting there in their control. And a week later, I get an invoice from them for $100,000 that says pay up. And in a year's time, and I tell you the story because they're like, this is entrepreneurship, right? We're gonna kill it. And technically, we didn't do anything wrong, but I'm gonna tell you what we did do wrong. We did everything right as far as ethically, legally, but we hit that moment and it's like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? And so I won't tell you the whole story, but I remember having lunch with my attorney, and he asked me a question. He said, well, do you want to save and grow your business, or do you want justice to be served? Basically, you can't have both. You gotta make a choice. And I said, I really want to grow our business. We feel like we have something great. And he said, then do that. Cut your losses, let's figure it out. So we did. So we cut our losses. We took us a year or two to pull ourselves out of that. And we ended up working out, but we had to make that decision. And the lesson I learned from that is you can't skip steps. We allowed our baby that we had built, we handed over to somebody. They didn't care about our business. And this sounds really harsh, but when you build something, a business, a product or a service, this sounds harsh, but nobody cares about it. Nobody except for you and your customers, okay? And that's all that matters. So the people that you're paying, and I'll get off this point, the people that you're paying will tell you anything they need to tell you, and not in a mean way, spirited way, but they'll tell you what they need to tell you to get more money out of you. Maybe it'll be right, maybe it'll be wrong. Those are not the people you listen to. You listen to the people who are paying you money. Your customers are paying you for a problem that you're solving, like your professor says. And we got lost in not really listening to what our customers wanted. We handed over our baby. They almost killed our baby. Luckily, we brought it back and we moved on. But you can't skip steps. You can't lose that control. And unfortunately, we learned it the hard way, and it took us a while to come out of it. So that's kind of lesson number one.
Yeah, just really losing that control. Ever since then, we've been very cautious and very careful. Anytime we can do something ourselves, we would do it ourselves. We really tried not to outsource or pay other people to do things, because we found that we could do things much better if we took the time to figure out how to do it ourselves.
Yeah. So
grow with the pressure.
Grow with the pressure.
That's advice we got at the very beginning when we started this business, and it was one of the best pieces of advice we ever have. Grow with the pressure. Don't skip steps. Don't try to do nationwide shipping when you're not ready. Just stick to what you're doing.
Yeah, we're serving our customers so well locally. We got big eyes, and it should have undone us, but it didn't. So, okay, so go to, let's see.
That's why he's so gray now.
That's why that is.
He survived.
You see pictures. Jackson, remember? So we have somebody here who worked.
We have a Crest Club OG right here.
We got an OG in our presence right here. So he's like, you look a lot younger 5 years ago. It's true. Okay, the next one is, I'll share this. I'll try to do this quick. So any business you do, so I know that, what's the right word? The popular, the trendy thing to do is say, I want to build a tech business, right? Because you can grow so big. But you look at some of the biggest companies, and a lot of them aren't tech businesses. They're tech combined with physical products. You know, Amazon and the likes, Tesla, right? These huge valuations. It's technology combined with the physical product. But I say that because no matter what business that you run or start, it has to be a technology business. So we made pies, we made food, right? But I'll share the story really quickly. In, I think it was March of 2019, we had our highest sales month. I mean, we're like 30% up, we're killing it, and I'm thinking, great. At the end of the month, I get my P&L for profit and loss, and I'm thinking, how profitable we're gonna be, how much money do we make? And we look at it, and we're doing 100,000, whatever, and we made, I think, just under $2,000. And I'm like, we literally killed ourselves. So we gotta split $1,000 each. I guess that's it. We're gonna feed our whole family off of that. And then the month after, we have a sales slump in April, and we're not in the black, we're way in the red. And we lost thousands of dollars. I go, okay, this is fun. So you wanna be an entrepreneur? You wanna work to hand somebody else money. You wanna work to lose money. This is the situation we're in. And I'm like, enough is enough. Why are we losing all this money? Why are we wasting so much? And it's because of our food waste. And so we looked up software programs that would control and manage food waste, and there was nothing that would fit us. And so we found a developer, and we had him custom build a program for us. It took about 3 to 4 months to build it out, started implementing it, and immediately we went in the black and more profitable. And all of that food waste pretty much, I don't want to say it was 100% eliminated, but that revolutionized our company. Had we never built that, we definitely wouldn't have been as profitable. We may not have survived without building that. So there's all these lessons where it's like, well, what are the things that made you succeed? And it's like, man, you should fail. You should fail every step of the way. There's points where you should fail. And then you got to figure out what you're going to do to overcome that to succeed. And that was an example of, if we didn't build that technology, that software, we probably would have failed, but we did it and we got on to the next step. So,
well, with that technology, our employees, they were doing a good job, but they just didn't know there was just all this waste because there's just an unknown and there wasn't accurate tracking. And so building that program was able to help our employees. They didn't have to guess. It was just given to them. It was easy, and it streamlined the process. And it just, like you said, it revolutionized our business.
Yeah, technology can really make things so much better, so much easier. Okay, all right, this next one is, next lesson is this. So the definition of, who knows the definition of luck? Maybe this is the business definition of luck. Anybody want to venture out? Yes, what is it? Yes, good, great. Preparation, I don't know if, either way, preparation and opportunity when they meet. So an example of this is, let's see, at the end of 2019, we had this feeling, we're like, you know, we're doing all right. You know, we have a profitable business. We're making some amount of money, but there's still waste. We're still not as efficient. We're not moving like we should. And so we really felt like we needed to change our processes and the way that we produced and packaged and shipped and kind of the whole thing, or delivered. And so one of my brother-in-law introduced me to the concept of lean manufacturing. So you guys familiar with this? The Toyota way, right? You guys may have learned about this. Yes?
He is a disciple of lean.
So I'm like a disciple of lean now. You have to be. So I basically just went on this lean journey, and for the next few months just read everything I could and then started implementing it into our processes. So read about it, implement it. And when I first read it, I did not believe it. When I first read it, I'm like, this is completely counterintuitive to the way that things should be done. I don't believe this. But, you know, I was like, people say it works, so let's try it out. And sure enough, the more we started implementing it, it's like laws, right? There's laws in life. Gravity is a law. You can't break gravity. It'll, you know, you can't break it. There are laws in business, and I learned that lean manufacturing is a law that works. When you follow the laws, it works. Not sometimes, it works all the time. And when I found that, I was like, wow, this is incredible. So anyway, what the basic concept was, you can produce twice as much in half the time, or twice as much at half the cost. And I didn't believe it until we started figuring it out. So we had basically revamped the way we did things, and by the end of February 2020, we were able to produce twice as much in about half the time at half the cost. And we're like, this is incredible. There was only one problem. We didn't have double the sales. So anybody remember what happened in March of 2020? Anybody around? Yeah. So March 16th, 2020, the governor says, shut down. Everybody shut down. Can't leave your house. And the minute he made that announcement, we looked on our website, and our traffic exploded, and everything that we had on our website sold out. Because we were a contactless food delivery service.
People could just stay home
Right.
and get it delivered, and they knew they were going to have dinner on their porch.
So if you're going to start a business, right, before COVID, if you knew COVID was going to come, you'd say, let's do a contactless food delivery service, right? Well, we already had it going. We just didn't know COVID was going to come. And then the next day, we're like, okay, let's make as much food as we can, and then we'll put it all online at 2 o'clock.
So we would tell our customers, we're completely sold out, come back at 2 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll be live. So we went live at 2 o'clock within seconds, and we made more food in that time than we probably would in like a week.
Yeah.
And in seconds, it was gone.
Yeah, so seconds, we just see them go, boom, gone. And so people were just like waiting on the website to get it. And for a week, that happened. And, obviously there's some businesses that really sunk and some that really soared during COVID. And that's not the point, right? Like none of us are glad that happened. But the point was we were prepared for that opportunity. And, you can call it divine intervention, you can call it what you want, but we were prepared for that. And that period of time through COVID, we needed funding to get to the next level of our business. And it turned out that we were able to provide the funding strictly through our own profitability. We didn't have to take on any money because of that experience. And so that was a lesson that you got to be prepared. You have no idea what's going to happen, but you've got to prepare for the best or the worst. So.
Okay, what's next?
What's next? Okay. How are we doing on time?
We're good.
All right, so that's, what's the next lesson? Okay. All right, this one, begin with the customer. Begin with the customer. So I will, begin with the customer and work backwards. So what do I mean by this? I promise if you start a business or a service, you're going to be thinking, you're thinking about yourself. Naturally, it's like, it's my business, my products, my service. And we did this so poorly for so long. We're like, what's best for us? What's best for us?
Well, we thought we were thinking about our customer.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were.
We were, but we were also thinking about ourselves.
Yeah, and one example is we thought, okay, what would be really good to give them something nice? So we ran a subscription business a few different ways. We had one model where we said, okay, $35 a month, subscription, $1 for dollar credit, and it rolls over and you can use that when you want. We thought this will be great for them. It's like, well, why would they subscribe? And the benefit was you get free delivery on every order. So just pay the $35, right? It rolls over, you can use it when you want, and this will be great. And we thought that was great for them. So we ran that for a while, and honestly, it was like...
It wasn't great.
It was working, but it just felt like we weren't going like this, right? We're just kind of like slowly moving along. And so one day our customer care representative, she comes in and she goes, hey, she's like, could we offer free delivery for like anyone, anytime, like for anything? Like, well, we sell pies for like $2, like these little small ones. I can't deliver a pie like 10 miles away for $2. And she's like, well, I know, but that's what people really want. I'm like, okay, well, no, we'll lose money. And then I really thought about it. And as we learned, it's like, okay, you don't ask the question, is it possible? You ask the question, does your customer really want this? And if the answer is yes, then you start with that and you work backwards. So if it's not possible at that time, then you figure out a way to make it possible. And maybe you'll do it in a month, and maybe it'll be a year. Maybe it'll be never, but you have to start there. And so we said, can we offer any product at any time, free delivery to our customers? That's what they want, okay. And it took us only about a month to look at every aspect of our deliveries, to cut the packaging in half, to cut this price down, to start cutting, and realize, you know what, we can get our costs down. Let's try it, let's offer free delivery. And so what happened is, at the time, there's two important numbers to understand when it comes to e-commerce, there's really three. One is traffic, but the other two are conversion rate, right? And our conversion rate was about 8%, right? So for every 100 people who came, 8 people bought.
Which is really high,
Which
right?
was really high, which was still really high. That was a high conversion rate. The other one is AOV, average order value, right? And the subscription fee was $35. Anybody want to guess what our AOV was? Take a guess? Anybody want to take a guess? It's pretty obvious based on what I just said. No, what's that? No, it was $35.
So our subscription was $35.
Our subscription was $35, and our AOV was $35. So we thought the subscription fee of AOV, average order value. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, average order value.
So we were charging them $35 to have a subscription, and they were spending $35 on average.
Yeah. So the subscription fee was not a hurdle, because we're like, if they can get over that hurdle, we can save the money that we need. It was a ceiling. Everybody was getting to 35 and stopping. So we decided, let's do it. Let's turn on free delivery. What that meant was we had to turn off subscriptions. And we had tens of thousands of dollars in recurring revenue. So you wake up in the morning, you got money in your bank. Every morning we woke up, we got money in our bank. So we said we're going to turn it off. So our accountant, our controller, our attorney, our dog, everybody said,
we don't have a dog.
Don't do that. We don't have a dog. He said, don't do this. They said, why would you turn off? They're sending you money automatically every day. And we looked at each other like, because it's what they really want. And we're confident that it's the right thing to do. So overnight, we turned it off, and we did free delivery. And our conversion rate went from 8% to 12%, and our average order value went from $35 to $55. And I was like, okay, never again. Never again. This is not about what I want and what's best for me. It was what's best for the customer. And if you give them what they want, they will give you what you want. Now, you can't break a law and say, we're going to do it for free and not make money. You still have to keep those numbers in check. But that was a powerful lesson that we learned. So.
Okay, what's next? What's our next? Is this our last story?
This is our last.
Well,
I don't know.
your last point.
Are we doing okay? You guys bored yet? You guys look like waking up. Okay. All right. You want to do that one?
No, this one's yours. Go for it. 80-20.
Okay, the 80-20.
You guys heard of the 80-20 rule?
So the Pareto principle, yeah. So this is kind of the 80-20 rule. It's the Pareto principle. So when we started the drive-through.
So we worked out of our warehouse for how many years, would you say? Was it 5 or 6? 5?
No, it was 4.5, I think.
So we just did deliveries. People had a warehouse space where people could come, but it was kind of like industrial area. And we fought for so many years against having a brick and mortar store where people could come to. We didn't want to be a restaurant. I didn't want to have tables and serve customers. We just wanted to hand people their food. And we thought delivery was really easy. And we had worked with some other companies and sold our product through there, and it wasn't a great experience. And so we just thought, let's not deal with the brick and mortar. But over time, and we didn't know how to grow it. When we first started Crust Club, my biggest fear was, how can we create a product that is the same no matter where we are? If we're making something in California, is it going to be the same? And so we didn't know how to grow. I was like, do we just have one massive facility where we produce everything out and then it gets shipped all over the nation? Or do we have franchises or other locations where people can come get it? And I just couldn't see, with the kind of product we were making, how we could maintain quality. But over the years of perfecting our product, doing all the lean and figuring out how we can make our product, it became clear that we could do this, and we understood how we could replicate our product. And so we decided to go ahead and do a brick and mortar. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we opened that up. When was it? I can't remember.
It was
anyway,
February of
21.
2021.
Yeah, 22?
Right?
I don't remember. Anyway,
It's all
so we went out. So basically, we were running simultaneously. So we had a drive-through, which we were selling product out of, and we were still doing our delivery business throughout the Wasatch Front, and we're running those two things at the same time. And oh my gosh, it was such a
It was a headache.
It was so stressful.
It was just two different businesses that were doing the same thing, but they weren't, and they're kind of competing. And
Yeah,
it was just employees here and there. It was just, and product going. It was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. And we're working twice as hard. And so at the end, we looked at the profitability, right? We look at our P&L, and it's like, oh, hey, profitability was great. 80% is coming from the drive-through, 20% is coming from deliveries. And because we're morons, for the next 3 months, we're like, we can't turn off deliveries. We've been delivering to people along the Wasatch Front.
We didn't want to upset
years.
customers. We didn't want to, we didn't want to, because we had a really huge delivery area, and we slowly had started making it smaller, and people got upset. They didn't want us to not deliver to them anymore. And so we were afraid of making more people upset. Meanwhile, we had this really profitable new business, the drive-through, that was doing really well.
Yeah, so, and this may sound like contradictory to my last statement about begin with the customer, but really what it came down to is we said, look, the customers at the drive-thru, why is it more profitable? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but one of them is the product was the most fresh because we're literally making it right then and they're handing it out the window. It's the most convenient because they can get it delivered like that, or they can come pick it up on their way home. And for every reason, it was the best experience for the customer. And so we had to make a decision, and which, looking back, it was like the easiest decision in the world, but it was so hard for us. And I remember being in a meeting one day, and I'm running through the numbers, and this is really important as far as us working together as husband and wife, but also what I do and what she does well. And I'm sitting there looking through the numbers, and I have to analyze everything, and I've got to justify everything. And she doesn't do any of that. She just sits back and looks at something and says, that's the right answer. Like, intuitively, that's the right answer.
I was like, why are we doing this? Why don't we just cut off deliveries and let's focus on the drive-thru? Let's just do it now and rip the Band-Aid off and just get over with it. Because we knew we were going to keep growing and expanding. So it's like, why not do this right?
Yeah, and she said it, and we're like, yeah, that's what we have to do. So we did, and it was painful. But immediately, man, it was all of our focus was just on that one location, and everything got better. And so that was basically in May, and in June, July, and August, we had 3 months.
We had a 3-month plan.
Yeah, we had a 3-month plan where we were getting ready to franchise because we're like, hey, we got the model. Everything can be made in that one building, and that one building, it was a small building, 1,600 square foot building, and we can replicate that anywhere in the world, right? Once you replicate that, you can do it anywhere. So we're like, let's mine this, let's make sure we have it run right, and then let's just franchise this thing and replicate it. So we had 3 months of profit and loss statements that we want to prepare. So June, July, August, let's make those numbers look the best they can. Let's get this out to potential franchisees. And
yeah, we made a game plan that we were going to franchise. We had avoided it for so long. We'd worked with a company who sold our product, like I said before, who was a franchise, and it was just really not well done. And so I was like, I'm never doing that. Like, I will never have people who don't care about my product selling my product. But we decided after being able to figuring out how to make the drive-thru work, that it was the right way to move forward.
Yeah.
So that was our plan. We were going to take 3 months and figure out how to franchise.
Yeah. So the end of August, I had the 3 months, and we did really well. I mean, we really focused on it, and we killed it. It was great. And we're like, okay, we're ready to go. And on September 2nd, we got a call.
Can I? Yeah, I'll tell you. So we got a call, and someone said, hey, Jason from Crumble is here at the drive-thru and wants to talk to Val. But they weren't supposed to give out my name or number. And so they're like, we didn't know what to do. So we just gave them Tyler's email. And so we emailed Tyler, and he right away and said, hey, we just wanted to reach out, and we have a business opportunity that we wanted to go over with you and see if you're interested. And so Tyler and I are like, what could this be? We had no idea. We thought maybe they want to collab on something. We had no idea what to expect. And so we met with them. What holiday was it? Was it Labor Day?
Yeah, it was 3 days later on Labor Day.
It was on Labor Day. We were going out of town on Tuesday. So they're like, hey, we can meet on Monday. So we went into their office. Nobody was there. And they're like, we've been looking at you and watching your business, and we think what you're doing is really great and falls in line with our values, and we'd like to purchase Crust Club. And Tyler and I were just kind of like, we were not expecting this at all. We were ready to franchise, and we were ready to go and build this business. And I knew immediately in that moment that it was the right thing to do. I just had this feeling. I'd never met Jason and Sawyer before, but I was like, okay, this is it.
Well, we left the meeting, and we're like, what do you think? I don't know. And an hour later, she called him and said, all right, done. Let's do it. What do we need to do to get it done? So.
And we were leaving. We went to Disneyland the next day, and so we were on a trip. And that whole trip, I was just like, we're trying to figure out what to do. And it was kind of awkward because it's like, we didn't know what they were thinking, and they didn't know what we were thinking. And I thought they just wanted to buy Crust Club outright and be done. But they wanted me to stay on and stay with them. And so we finally figured out kind of what we're going to do. So Tyler left completely, and I stayed on and worked with them. And this was in October of last year is when they moved fast. That we move fast and they move fast. That's one thing about Crust Club. We always said, if you're gone a day, it's going to be a completely new business when you come back. And Crumble is the same way. They move fast. And so we got it done within a month or two?
Yeah, it was about 6 weeks.
6 weeks. And so we officially sold to them in October. I retained a portion of the company and stayed on with them. And I worked with them for several months, and I loved them. They were awesome. But I missed this one. And I knew that we had other things to do. And he was, meanwhile, trying to figure out what he was going to do. He had 2 different things he was working on. And it was really a good learning experience for me to be at Crumble. They have a phenomenal company. I did learn for myself, though, that even though I was still part owner, I became kind of an employee, and it wasn't the right fit for me. And so I knew that just my entrepreneurial brain, like I was used to going into meetings and talking to Tyler 24/7 about our business and what we're going to do. And then I went to this place where I didn't know if I was going to talk to my partners and if I would see them that day. And I didn't know what was going on. And I just couldn't function that way. So I decided to leave about maybe 3 months ago. I officially left, and we completely sold out of Crust Club. And so now it's completely on them, and we'll see what they do with that. And meanwhile, we've been working on our own thing, right?
We have.
So
that's the Crust Club story.
That's the Crust Club story. So that's where we are right now. So our new venture, so when Tyler left, he was working on 2 different ideas, and one of them was his idea, and one of them was an idea that I had a long time ago. And it came from this idea. I've always been a creator. I've always wanted to do recipes. I've made a couple self-made recipe books. And I've always been really unhappy with the situation with the whole recipe experience. Crust Club came from a place of, I just wanted to make something. And our next business has come from a place of, there's a problem, and I want to solve this problem. And so when I made recipes, making a recipe book, the problem is that you make it and it's done. You can't add to it, you can't change it, it's done, it's out there. But I'm like, what if I make more recipes that fall in line with this book? How I have to make a whole new book? Like, that's too much work. I want to be able to add to it continuously. So I had this idea of making a recipe book that you could continually add to. And so basically the idea is you have like a binder, but a really nice high-end binder. And then I wanted pages. Right now we call it, if you cook or your mom cooks or anyone you know, go ask them. I'm sure they have one. We call it a Frankenbinder. It's a binder where you print off all your recipes, you put it in a plastic sheet, and it's a crazy binder that's sometimes falling apart. So what I wanted is I want pages that are not having to put in these plastic sheets that are gross, they still get dirty. I want almost like laminated paper. So Tyler helped find it. We have a synthetic paper that we print on. The new company is called Peachy, sorry, but jumping the gun. Anyway, what it does is you can type up your recipes, put them on, and it gets printed on the synthetic paper. You can put it in the sink, you can wash it off, it stands the test of time. It's really, really cool. And you can continually add to these books. But the idea behind it, and Tyler, you can help, he explains it much better than me, is not only is it for the people just who are recipe users, but recipe creators as well. So we're creating an opportunity for bloggers. Right now, the blogger recipe creator platform is really, really inefficient. They have their blogs, and I don't know if you've ever seen them, they're covered in ads. It's a really, really poor experience for the user and for the recipe creator, because you have to have a certain amount of views to even get ads on your site, and then you're not making hardly anything on it. There's a very small group of people who make a lot of money off of recipe blogging, and the rest are it's just a hobby.
Does anybody here recipe blog, or parents or family? Yeah. So yeah, there's or any family members or friends that you know that do recipe blogging or creating. Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's such a big industry, but it's kind of this hidden industry. But like she said, they mainly get money through ads. So the big idea is we feel like the recipe creators or bloggers are making money through ads. Are we out of time? 5 minutes? Okay. They're making money through ads. Basically, they make, for every view, so a recipe blogger, right? Who's been to a recipe page and viewed a recipe with all the ads on it? Everybody. You're Googling it. What are we making tonight? All right, Google it, you look, and then you're trying to read the recipe, and then a video pops up, and you want to throw your phone out the window the 5th time that stupid video pops up. It's a problem they all have, but they have to make money, and they're making it through ads. So basically, every time you visit that page, that blogger is making anywhere from 1 to about 4 cents, right? Depending on, there's a lot of factors. Make 1 to 4 cents, right? That adds up if you get 1 million page views, right? Which some of them are. That adds up. But it takes a long time to get there. So the big idea that we have is, okay, well, what if they, rather than you just viewing the ad, how many people would pay for that physical recipe in the way that she's describing it? And if they're willing to pay for that physical recipe, then the blogger, instead of just selling their digital ads, they can sell their physical recipes. And the big idea is if they can make 2, 3, 4, 5 times more by allowing their physical recipes to be purchased 1 at a time or 10 at a time, then they'll post their recipes not just on their blog, but they'll also post it in our marketplace. And we can create a marketplace where, look, if they get paid more, they'll post it there. So that's really the big idea, is to drive the marketplace, you have to pay the people who are driving the market. And these creators are driving the entire market. No matter where you search for recipes, whether it be on Pinterest or Google or any other search engine, you always land in the same spot. It's on somebody's individual blog and their recipe. Whether you know it or not, that's where you are. So we feel like embracing them, providing benefit and value for them, will bring them to us to say, let's create a marketplace where you can come and do it. And the research that I did basically said that people don't pay for digital recipes. I mean, sometimes, has anybody here paid for a digital ebook? Anybody in here? Yeah, you have? Okay. There's very, very few people. Every person who has a mom in here, maybe some, or dads, everybody's bought cookbooks. And in fact, cookbooks are selling at an all-time high. And you look at it and you're like, why are digital recipes free? And people are still paying money for these physical. And what I found is if a creator sells a digital versus a physical copy of the recipe, the physical copy sells 10 times more frequently for 10 times the price. And that's not my opinion. These are just the numbers. This is anecdotally speaking with them, and this is looking at research online. So if we can sell physical recipes 10 times more frequently at 10 times the price for them, and by the way, we are the publishers, so we've purchased all the equipment to print off all the books and all the paper.
So we're taking everything we learned with Crust Club and lean manufacturing, and now we're becoming a printer.
So I forgot to sell that part. So the marketplace is we do it all ourselves for them, and now they don't need to go to a publisher to publish a recipe.
Well, and with making a recipe book, that's like the golden egg that you want to get as a recipe blogger is I want to get a book deal and I want to publish a recipe book. But speaking with so many of them, it's such a bad experience for the majority of them. They lose control. They don't get paid very much on them. And it's just more of like a thing to do to say I did it than actually like, hey, this was a profitable thing. This was a really money-making venture for me. Yeah. So this way we really want to, there's a lot of food apps out there, recipe apps. And the thing is, a lot of them try to like go around the food bloggers, and we really want to support the food bloggers and just people who just want to put a recipe book together, even if they're not a blogger. Yeah. So that's our next venture.
Yeah.
And really quick, I just want to talk briefly about just working together as a couple. I have a friend, she is awesome. She has an amazing business. She is an expert at what she does. And every time I visit her, we talk about business together, and she is just really stuck because she can't grow. And I think the biggest problem she has is she doesn't have an awesome partner. And for me, I feel like business, the best thing you can do is to have an amazing partner. Crust Club would not exist if we didn't have each other. It's not always easy. There's some times where our employees probably felt really awkward because I probably wasn't the nicest to Tyler in that meeting, or we just had like a little thing between us. But we love working together. We have a really unique situation. So even if you can't work with your spouse, my biggest recommendation is finding a partner, someone that you can trust. You guys have different strengths and weaknesses that you guys can really grow your business together.
Yeah. So, okay.
We have time for 1 or 2 questions if anybody wants to ask. Raise your hand and ask it, and they'll repeat.
Sorry. Okay, I was just wondering, Valerie, I feel like there's a lot of big expectations with like being a mom and a lot of big demands of being a business owner. What was your mindset going into that? And how did you navigate it?
That's a good question. She just wants to know kind of like there's a lot of big demands with being a mom and being a business owner and how I handled that. So when we started Crust Club, I had just had our 3rd baby. Yes? Yeah. I had just had our 3rd kid. Right? Yes. He was about a year old. Sorry, he has to remind me. But I just couldn't stop. Like it was just something within me that I had to do. And so we just always figured it out. And that's why having a partner was really good, especially with Tyler, because we always kind of picked up the slack for each other. There is a lot of pressure. One of the girls that worked with us from day one, she, was in the same boat. She was a mom, and she and I both felt a lot of negative reactions from family members and friends who didn't think we should be working, and maybe our kids would be doing better or whatever if we weren't working. But I always felt the opposite. I felt like if I wasn't working, I would not be happy or fulfilled, and so I would not be a good mom. And so to me, it's just a part of who I am. It's not about like, it's just a matter of, this is who I am, this is what I have to do, and we make it work and we figure it out. And I think our kids actually have a really great experience that I never had growing up. I had an awesome, awesome mom who was always there, but it's just a different experience. So I think it's just not having to think about there's one right way to do things. It's like we are doing our own thing, and if it works for our family, then that's what matters most. We can do it. You figure it out. You make it work.
Okay, let's hear it.
Thank you.